live here on GlenwoodSports.com. Sorry for the little bit of a delay. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty. However, we are back now on GlenwoodSports.com here. It's 13-2. St. Albert leads Glenwood. It's 13-3. We are back here on GlenwoodSports.com. Glenwood is down here to the Saints in set number 1. That one goes wide and a point for Glenwood. So now it's 13-4. That point goes back to St. Albert. (14-4) right now to score. Glenwood down to St. Albert here in set number 1. That's in, and St. Albert scores another point. St. Albert swept Harlan 3-0 in game number 2 of 3 tonight. Harlan won the first game against Glenwood. They lost to St. Albert, and here we are in the third. It's now 15-4. (16-5) now the score. St. Albert back to serve. The Saints lead Glenwood here in set number 1. That one goes out, and another point to the Saints. Serving for St. Albert is Jordan Scott. Scott is a senior. Served by Scott underway, and that's good for the Saints. It's now 18-5 here. St. Albert leading Glenwood. St. Albert right now on top of the Rams, 18-5. Kornick takes a serve from St. Albert. Here's Rounds from the back line. That's out, and that'll be another point for the Saints. It's 19-5. St. Albert leads Glenwood here. Set number 1. Dowder will hit it across for Glenwood. St. Albert takes control now. Here's the set. And that's into the net. So it'll be now a score of 19-6. Glenwood down by 13 here as the serve is taken by Maxwell. Here's St. Albert. Kornick, Gray, and now Stouter will hit across for Glenwood. But it'll be a double hit on the Rams and a point for St. Albert. I believe that's number 3, Corey Lester, into the game now, and he will take serve for the Saints as Glenwood is down 20-6 here in set number 1. Gray gets the set over there to Hayes. Controlled by the Saints, though. Here's the set. And good. A point goes to Wettengale. Kalen gets the kill. 21-6 the score. Here, all Saints in set number 1. Here's the set to Stouter. Good dig there by St. Albert. And Rams come back right with a good dig as well, but it'll be a double hit once again on Glenwood to make the score now 22-6. Lester serving for St. Albert. Will send it across. Here's Hayes. Blocked up front by St. Albert, and the set goes over there far side, but that goes into the net, and a point for Glenwood. Now 22-7. All St. Albert here in set number 1. Hayes is back serving for Glenwood. We're underway. 22-7 here. The set for the St. Albert Saints, and that's in. Give credit there to number 5. That's Sydney McLaren with the kill. And back serving for the Saints is now number 6, Petrie. 23-7. Glenwood down here in set number 1. Stouter, and that's going to be a point for the Rams. Good St. Albert team here in town tonight, folks. They swept the Harlan Cyclones, and now they lead Glenwood 23-8. The serve by Gray. That's for the Saints. Back across, and Glenwood trying to save it, and I believe they ran into the net, so it'll be a point for the Saints. 24-8, it's a set point for St. Albert, and back to serve will be the libero, number 16, which it might be Wettengale. There's not a number 16 on the roster here, but Wettengale has a libero on her name. The point will go to Glenwood. It's 24-9. St. Albert leads the Rams 24-9. There's Stouter with it. Gray. Stouter. Here's Decker. Good save, though, by the Saints. Decker once again. Blocked. And St. Albert will take set number 1, 25-9. We are getting ready for now set number 2, as Glenwood will go on the left side and play from left to right. And St. Albert will go to the traditional home side here in Glenwood. We're back here on GlenwoodSports.com for set number 2. It was all St. Albert in set number 1. And that'll be now 4 straight sets for these Saints tonight as they swept the Harlan Cyclones and now lead Glenwood 1-0. All right, we're ready for set number 2. And it looks like Glenwood will serve here, folks, in set number 2. That'll be Gray back to serve for the Rams. Gray with the serve. Taken by the Saints. Here's the set over here, close side, and that's good. Number 5, McLaren. McLaren on there. And the Saints lead 1-0. Petrie with the serve. And that's long by Stouter. Another point for St. Albert. Here's Decker. Good job there by St. Albert to get the dig. And then the Glenwood scores right back. Good job, Glenwood. As that point will go to Decker and Glenwood. 2-1. Right now, Glenwood down 1-0 against St. Albert. Back to serve will be Stouter for the Rams. Here's the set. And that's a point for the Saints. Once again, it's going to be McLaren with the point. 3-1. St. Albert leading Glenwood here in set number 2. Serve underway. Deflected. St. Albert here with the set, and good dig by Glenwood. And a point goes to the Saints on a double hit by Glenwood. Makes it now 4-1 in favor of St. Albert. Here's a set to Maxwell. That's going to be long. 5-1 now, an early lead here in set number 2 by these St. Albert Saints. That's going to be tipped and a Glenwood point. Now 2-5. Back to serve will be Cameron Rounds. I apologize for number 16. She is not in the roster, and I do not have a last name for her. Rounds with the serve. Straight down, and that's a point for White. The sophomore middle hitter for St. Albert. 6-2 now. Glenwood down to St. Albert. Here in set number 2. McLaren with the serve for the Saints. Here's the set. Good dig there by Glenwood. Now Decker. Decker, here's Hayes. Blocked at the net though. And it'll be a point, a double hit on Glenwood. That was Hayes. Seven to 2. McLaren with the serve for the Saints, and that's going to be a point. Now 8-2. St. Albert leading your Glenwood Rams tonight. Point goes to Glenwood. 8-3 now. Cornick back to serve for Glenwood. Service underway. Now here's a set to the Saints. Left-handed to hit there. Maxwell, that's good. 8-4 now your score. As Glenwood here trying to make a comeback against St. Albert. They lead the Rams right now 8-4. And set number 1 was 25-9. St. Albert won over Glenwood. And that's going to be a palming on St. Albert, excuse me. A 3-point lead now. And that's long. So now back to 9-5. St. Albert leading Glenwood. A substitution number 4 will come in. That's Reacher. Four-point lead right now for St. Albert. It's 5-9. Reacher with the serve. Taken by Stouter. Brown's over there to Maxwell. She sends it across. Here's the set to the Falcons. Or excuse me, Saints. That's blocked though by Glenwood. Here's now the set. And that's going to be palming once again by Glenwood. 10-5 your score. Glenwood down by 5 here in set number 2. The Hawkeye 10 battle tonight here in town. Third one actually tonight. Harlan won the first against Glenwood. St. Albert beat Harlan, and now they win, or excuse me, they're up by 6 points against your Glenwood Rams. It's 11-5. Emily Reacher still back there serving for the Saints. And another point goes to the Saints. Coach Vandervoort's going to take a timeout here, and a couple unforced errors by the Rams have extended this lead for the Saints. Coach Lance has her team up 12-5 here in set number 2. They took the Rams in set number 1, 25-9. And here St. Albert leads 1-0, and they're up 12-5. We're back after the timeout. It's 12-5. The Saints lead Glenwood. Here's Hayes. Blocked and controlled by St. Albert. Good hit by the Saints, though. Here's Maxwell. The set to the Saints. Nice diving dig there by Glenwood. Cornick will send it across. And that's just off the hands of Cornick, and a point for the Saints. 13-5. And Emily Reacher still serving. Doing a really good job tonight against Glenwood. There's Maxwell, though, for the Rams, and that's a point. 13-6 now your score. Here's Stouter. And Albert will now set it up, and that's good. The Saints find a gap in Glenwood's defense, and Blackburn will get the point. 14-6 now your score. Glenwood needing to come back here. And that's good by Stouter. Railsmith in the ball game for rounds as Hayes will go back for the serve. Good block up front by the Rams. Here's Stouter. Controlled though by the Saints. A good point here by both schools. Here's the set over there to Stouter. And Glenwood gets the point. 8-14, a little bit of a comeback here for the Rams. Let's see if they can keep this up. A big improvement from the first set as they lost 25-9 there in set number 1. Here though, they're only down 8-14. Rams trying to make a comeback. That was Hayes with the serve. Here's the set though, and that's good by the Saints. Wettengale, the junior hitter for the Saints, will get the point. And now it's 15-8 in favor of St. Albert. Back to serve is Lester. Maxwell will hit it across for Glenwood. Trying to get it is Smith, and she will. Rams trying to control it though. Back over to St. Albert. Rounds. Gray, here's Stouter. That's good. 9-15. A good comeback here by Glenwood. They've already reached the total score that they had in set number 1. As the score is 15-9. Here's the Saints. Stouter. Block. Here's the set to St. Albert. And that's going to go into the net by Glenwood and a point to St. Albert. And now they lead 16-9 over Glenwood here in set number 2. Serve underway. Good dig there by Maxwell. Here's Stouter, block. Maxwell will send it across for Glenwood. St. Albert blocked right up front. That's Smith with the block. Cut it down to a 6-point lead. 16-10 now. Sierra with the serve. Here's the set to the Saints. Maxwell. Good dig there by St. Albert. And that's going to be good. Another point for number 5, McLaren. As a junior hitter, playing pretty well tonight for these Saints. The score now is 17-10. Good point, and I think it's going to be, a point for Glenwood. It'll be, the ball went around the out of bounds. 17-11 here in set number 2. Rounds will serve it up for Glenwood. Controlled though by St. Albert, and here is the set. Controlled by Glenwood though. St. Albert, a barrel will hit it across. Gray, the set there to Decker. And that's long. (18-11), a 7-point lead for St. Albert. As McLaren will go back to serve for the Saints. Here's the set over there to Maxwell. Blocked and good for Glenwood. 18-12, down to a 6-point lead for St. Albert. Decker will come out of the ball game for Cornick. (18-12) your score. Cornick with the serve. And that's good by the Saints. Blackburn with the kill. 19-12 your score here in set number 2. The Saints took down Glenwood 25-9 in set number 1. Here's Hayes. Blackburn and Glenwood with the save. St. Albert with the set here. Maxwell. Controlled though. Good point here by both teams. Blackburn. St. Albert with another set here. Here's Blackburn once again. And that's good. 20-12. As number 4, that's Emily Reacher, will go back to serve for St. Albert. Hayes, and that's good. Nice play there by Hayes on the front line. 20-13, a 7-point lead right now for the 7-point lead right now for the Saints. As back to serve will be Maxwell. That's good. Glenwood now cuts it down to 6 again. St. Albert will take the serve from Glenwood. Stouter, Gray, back to Stouter. Controlled though by St. Albert. Hayes, Gray, back to Hayes. That's wide. And a point goes to St. Albert. 21-14. Back to a 7-point lead for the Saints. And now that'll bring in Jordan Scott to serve for St. Albert. 21-14 your score. Serve is into the net but goes over. Unfortunate there by Glenwood. Another point for St. Albert makes it now 23-14. Scott with the serve. Here's Hayes. That's wide and a point for St. Albert now 24-14. It is a set point for the Saints. And that's good. Sorry, they're going to say that was actually tipped, and it'll be a Ram point. So 24-15 to score now. As Hayes back to serve. Going to go into the net, and it'll be a point. And that's the set number 2. St. Albert wins that one 25-15. We'll be back for set number 3. All right, we're back for set number 3. Glenwood finding themselves in a hole right now. 2-0 against the Saints. The Saints also now have a 5-set winning streak tonight as they defeated Harlan 3-0, and they now lead Glenwood 2-0. Overall, so far, the best team performance tonight here in the triangular between Glenwood, Harlan, and St. Albert 3 Hawkeye 10 conference teams. And we're underway. St. Albert with the serve first. And Sauter gets blocked there for point number 1, and the Saints are on the board first. 1-0. Serving for St. Albert is number 6, Petrie right now. Sauter. Here's the set to the Saints. Deflected, and Glenwood trying to save it. And it'll be 4 hits on Glenwood. It'll be another point. 2-0. The Saints lead Glenwood. Serve underway. Taken by Glenwood. That's off the hands of Maxwell. Another point goes to Petrie and the Saints. 3-0. Serve underway. And another unforced error by Glenwood gives us a point to the Saints. Gray over there to Smith. Now here's Sauter. And that's a point for the Rams. 4-1 your score. Glenwood down by 3 here in set number 3. That goes into the net. And a point for the Saints. 5-1 now. The libero back to serve for St. Albert. Straight down, and that's a point for the Saints. Number 5, McLaren, gets it off the return by Glenwood. 6-1 now your score. St. Albert leading Glenwood. Serve is underway. Here's the set to Sauter. Block. St. Albert will set it their side. Decker trying to save it, and that's out of bounds. Seven to 1 is your score here in set number 3. Good dig there by Decker. And that's going to go wide. 8-1 now your score. That's going to be a tip ball and the Saints point. 9-1 now. All St. Albert here in set number 3. Another point goes to McLaren and the Saints now makes it 10-1. Glenwood down by 9 here early on in set number 3, and they already find themselves down 2-0. Maxwell, here's the set now to Decker. Gray with the dig. Now Round tries to dive, and that'll be a point for St. Albert. 11-1 your score. A good run here by the libero for St. Albert as they lead Glenwood 11-1 and now make it 12-1. And Coach Vandervoort would like a timeout here as Glenwood is down at 12-1 here in set number 3. It's all St. Albert here in set number 3. Glenwood having trouble right now with the Saints of St. Albert as they swept Harlan 3-0 and now are up 2-1 or 2-0 on Glenwood and lead this set 12-1. Playing good volleyball tonight is St. Albert. Serve underway. That's going to be wide, and Glenwood will get a point. It's now 12-2 as Stouter will go back to serve. Blocked up front. Here's the set there to Smith. Blocked, and that's a point for Glenwood. Good job there by the Rams. 12-3 now. Stouter with the serve. And that's a point for McLaren and the Saints. Just kind of rolled across the net all the way down horizontally, right down the net, and that's a point. 13-3, a 10-point lead here for St. Albert in the set number 3. Decker. Good dig there by St. Albert. That's blocked at the net. And that point will go to St. Albert. Number 10, Fields with the kill there. 14-3. Laren, and that's wide for the Saints. A point for Glenwood. 14-4. Here's a set to Maxwell. That's good. Nice job there by Maxwell. 14-5 your score. Rounds with the serve. Here's the set to Decker. Controlled though by St. Albert. And good shot there by number 13 Blackburn. Threw a little bit of a changeup on that one, and it caused Glenwood to hit it straight in the net. 15-5. Number 1 serving now. That's Whittingale. Margaret Whittingale. Here's the set to McDonald. That's into the net and point for the Rams. 15-6 your score. Cornick to serve for Glenwood. And that's good. Maxwell with the kill. Here's Gray. It's 15-7. St. Albert leading Glenwood right now in set number 3. Here's the set to Blackburn, and that's good. A point for the Saints. (16-7). And that serve will go in. Jordan Scott with another point. 17-7, a 10-point lead here in set number 3. Scott with the serve. Here's the set to Maxwell. That goes long.